I kind of just wanted to go over this real quick, make a quick video as an appeal to why she should stay at the current speed she is now. And honestly, I think we've done that. I've dismantled every argument people could ever make for a 77% Huntress. There's no reason for her to be 77%. All right, so the PTB is officially over with, and it looks like at least some of the changes are going to go through. But I kind of wanted to digress a little bit and explain why Huntress needs to be 90% movement speed while holding a hatchet. And I can prove this without a shadow of a doubt. Okay. Let me pull up my DaVinci real quick here. I got the clips right here, the evidence, right? So I brought up the point that there's no reason for Huntress to be 77%, because there's not. There's no reason for it. And I'm like, why are we complaining about the Huntress moving at 88 now when the Trickster moves at 96? And people would often cite the fact that the Trickster had to land 16 knives to get it down, whereas the Huntress had to land 2 hatchets. And while, yes, that is the truth statistically and number-wise, it's really not that big of a difference. Because while, yes, 8 is a lot bigger than 1, you can land the same amount of knives in the time she can land a hatchet, because the Huntress has 3 phases to her power, right? She has the wind-up phase, the charge time phase, the release, and cooldown phase. Meanwhile, Trickster can wind up his knife and throw it within the same few frames. Literally no wind-up time at all, no charge time at all, no recoil at all. Immediately pulls up the blades, throwing them instantly. Not to mention main event, which increases the speed at which you throw your blades, reduces, there's no recoil already anyway, so you don't have to worry about that, and you can gun a survivor down before they can even get the full use of their on-hit speed boost, right? So this is the number one thing I see on why Trickster is faster, is because Huntress can down faster. But let's test that out, and that's exactly what we did here on the PTB. Base kit to base kit, right? Base kit to base kit. All right, so we take off from the window, both base kit, no movement speed, no nothing, no add-ons at all. We start throwing knives with Trickster a little bit earlier, so that way we can both get the injuries at the door state. We pop main event with Trickster. Obviously, Huntress doesn't have a main event, so we down her at the doorway at 12:37, and we down Sable at the other doorway at 15:03. Now, you could say that using main event isn't fair, and while I would have agreed with you in the past when he got it like 3 times a game, he can get it like 20, 30 times a game now, so I don't think using main event is skewed at all. So we can see we down with Trickster about a second and a half faster than Huntress. So already right there, the people who said that Huntress can down faster are wrong completely. But we're not done there, because we have the Trickster's most popular add-on, the Memento Blades, which increase the speed at which he throws his blades by 10%. And we can see right here, same deal. We're running up. We start throwing at basically the same time, a little bit earlier with Trickster, try and get the injury at the doorway, which we do. No main event this time. We got 10:02 for the down. And then we got 14.23 for the down on Sable. So no main event, actually faster for the Trickster with the Memento Blades. So 10:02 to 14.23, that's a 2-second, or that's a 4-second difference actually. And notice these times right here. I don't even ready up the hatchet because you cannot get hits here. Like, I'm doing this optimally. We come right around here, would not be landing a hatchet right there, because it takes about 1.7 seconds to fully pull up the hatchet to let it go immediately. Travels 20 meters per second, too slow, wouldn't be able to catch her. So then we do the Memento Blades with the Heartcade Shoes with the main event against the base kit Huntress. And as you can see, we're running here, and we wait to pop the main event again because we want it to be somewhat fair. Try to land the injury states at the doorway. We hit her with the hatchet, we pop main event, and we absolutely gun her down before she can even take the corner, and we down her at the door with Huntress. So it's the same exact thing, actually, 14.23 for the Huntress and 10.02 for the Trickster, even with main event. But if you'll notice, at the 3-second mark right here, we stop throwing knives. And then 3 seconds later, we start throwing our knives again to get the injury state. So instead of 10.02 seconds for the Trickster, it's more like 7.02 seconds. So literally down Sable in half the time the Trickster does. Or in half the time the Huntress does. My bad. So people use the statement that the Trickster has to land 8 knives. It's a lot harder to land 8 knives. The Huntress can down much faster. But we've proven 5 times in a row right now that the Trickster can actually down faster in every single way. And not only that, the Trickster can actually down Sable before she can take the corner of Shaq, before she can use all 3 seconds of her on-hit speed boost. That's always something been unique about the Trickster, is that he can throw knives, and once he throws and hits the 8th knife and it enters the survivor, he's already got 2 more on the way, and he needs to land 16. So you get hit with the 8th knife, you go through the damage taken animation, you start running, he's got 2 more on the way, and then he's got the 6 follow-ups. So he can injure you way faster. You take a window against a main event Trickster, it's over. You take a doorway, it's over. You take a pallet, it's over. You're out in the open, it's over. In every case scenario, the Trickster downs faster than the Huntress, except for if we're using a Monograss Braid Huntress with Oak Haft. and we don't charge up at all. If we charge up the hatchets and make the full charge shing, the Trickster is still faster. But if we have Monograss Braid and Oak Haft and we just throw them immediately, we do down faster. So it takes 2 add-ons for the Huntress to down faster than the Trickster at all. Then we're going to compare the speeds. This is a little bit of propaganda, but just stick with me. This is the Heartcade shoes and killing part chords. Now watch this. Base kit Huntress, right? Watch this. Look, she's pulling away from Huntress. She's not pulling away from Trickster. She's not pulling away from Trickster pretty much at all. Look at that. It looks like she's moving like 30% faster against Huntress, to be honest. It looks like she's like damn near sprint bursting. But look at Trickster. Look what's going on his screen. He's chasing. So that's a little bit of a bias right there because we're using the double movement speed add-ons and Trickster's already faster. Let's go back and go to this one right here where we got Shiny Pin versus the Heartcade shoes and killing part chords. And as you can see, she's pulling away way more. Not as much as the base kit, the first one, but she's still pulling away a lot more than Trickster. So yeah, look at this. Even with the 5% from Shiny Pin, she's pulling away way more than the Trickster with his speed add-ons. Now, is every Trickster going to be running double speed add-ons? No. They almost always run Trick Blades, Memento Blades, and Heartcade shoes. Like, those 3 are like god tier on him. I personally do Heartcade shoes and Memento Blades. Trick Blades are really good, though. You can switch out the shoes for the Trick Blades, you know. But so, yeah, and you can see how long, that's a minute. We've been chasing her for a minute, or no, 56 seconds, and this is all the distance she has on us. But it keeps going. We keep going. We'll just buffer through this. 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes right here where I stop. 3 minutes of straight chasing. She has 4 meters on me, 3 meters on me max. Okay, so part of the reason, so we just debunked the main reason people try to say that Trickster is faster. He has to land 8 knives, which is a joke. You can land 8 knives faster than she can land hatchets because of her 3 phases to her power. He can down much faster. He can land 8 knives faster. He can get to main event every 8 blades. Light work, literally. There's only one set of add-ons that makes the Huntress able to down faster. That's the Monograss Braid and the Oak Haft. And it has to be against a base Trickster as well. And it has to be against a base Trickster who's not using main event either. And that's how you can eventually down people faster. So what does the Huntress have that actually makes her worth playing? You know what I mean? Well, besides the aesthetic, obviously you got a K-pop star versus Dami, Bunny Mommy, right? So those are just 2 different types of people who play those, types of characters, even though I play both of them because I love both their designs. The reason why you would pick Huntress over Trickster is for the long-range pressure. Okay, she can get injury states and downs over 30 meters pretty easily. Pretty consistently too. That's where a lot of your pressure comes in. You're a 110 killer. You're already going to struggle more than other killers because it takes you longer to get places. It takes you longer to run loops. It takes you longer to catch up to these people, to ready up, to hit them, and then they get their on-hit speed boost, and then they dip out, right? And that's another thing too. Trickster can down you before you can use your full on-hit speed boost. Huntress can't do that ever, no matter what add-ons you're using. The only Huntress that could do that was the Huntress that released 7 years ago when she was using Monograss Braid, Oak Haft, and Tinkerer. That was the only Huntress that could do that. She cannot do that anymore. Trickster's the sole exception. So, long-range injury and dying states that she can inflict is why you would pick her. Now, the problem with that is there are 7 indoor maps which completely remove that aspect of her power. Not only do they remove the 30-meter plus downs and injuries, they remove orbitals, 2 pretty key parts of her kit. I wouldn't say essential, but if you're going to play her at the highest level, you should be throwing out a few orbitals a match, a few long-range shots a match. You don't have to, but that's gonna be what sets you apart from the average Huntresses, right? And so you have 7 indoor maps that completely get that power. You have the Shattered Square, you have Bad Ham 1 through 5, you have half the Macmillan Estate maps, you have the Eerie of Crow maps, you have some of the Auto Haven maps, which have just so much clutter that gut your power in that way too, right? And then you have the small high wall loops, like the little rock wall loops on Auto Haven, where you are forced to M1. Doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter how many hours you have to just bloodlust it out and go for the M1, take the stun. Because if you decide to ready up 1 second too early, and even if you decide to ready up at all, because Huntress has tells to her power. Trickster doesn't have tells. Yes, he laughs when he pulls up his blade, but that's something much easier to miss than Huntress going, huh? Getting ready to hold her hatchet. It's a very loud, very vocal thing that's very easy to pick up on. You'll never miss it. And the fact that the Trickster's 6'2", something like that, and the Huntress is 7'8", And when she's holding her hatchet above her head, her hatchet's about 8 feet in the air, so there is no mind gaming these loops. The survivor have the third-person camera that allows them to see the top of your bunny ears, that allows them to see your hatchet in the air. They can hear you vocalizing your attack. They can see your hatchet in the air. They can hear it when it hits full power. They know all these things. Survivor's running a tight loop, a little high wall, rock wall loop, and they hear you go, huh? Oh, W key, W key, W key, run it, couple more loops, couple more loops. They hear you cancel it because it makes the clicking sound. You put it back in your leather loop. And then you run a couple more loops, couple more loops, couple more loops. You're ready up again. They hear it. Oh, W key. Just autopilot. No thought at all. Just completely brainless. Because he drops all the way down to 77%. You're never going to get hit. You're never going to get hit by Huntress in that case. No matter if the Huntress has 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 hours, you're not getting hit by a hatchet at that loop. That's just not going to happen. Right? The only thing that's different with this 90% movement speed Huntress is the counterplay is the exact same. People are saying you're removing the counterplay from her. You're not removing the counterplay at all. It's just speeding up the instances of what's happening. So say you take a Huntress to Shack. You can get 3 loops out of it, and by the 3rd loop, you vault the window, she hits you in the back with a hatchet. Well, now it's going to be 2 loops that you can get instead of 3. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to think a little bit more. You're going to have to be a little bit more cautious on these things. Normally, you could just W key it here, go through this doorway, and vault the window. But now she's 90%, so instead of getting 3 loops out of that window pallet loop, you're going to get 2. You know, it's just speeding everything up. The counterplay is the exact same. Indoor maps are still going to be bad for her, significantly less so. High wall loops are still going to be bad for her. You know, some loops, even moving at 90, she's still, for the most part, going to have to M1 at certain loops because she's a 110 killer who drops to 90. You know what I mean? So there's the counterplay is still the same. And I'll remind you that people were collectively losing their minds when they decided to speed up the Trickster and Huntress's reload by 1 second. People were losing their minds when Huntress went from a 4-second reload to a 3-second reload. Both her and Trickster, people were going AWOL. They're saying the game's dying. The devs have no idea what they're doing. They're just absolutely going berserk about these very minuscule quality of life changes for these 2 killers. And they just don't, I just think a lot of people just don't want any killers to get better at all whatsoever. And it's like, you know, it's like, okay, so Dead by Daylight's 25th anniversary, their 50th anniversary, the year 2060, is the Huntress the same exact way as she is now? Just because she's well-balanced and decent now, does that mean she's gonna, okay, so it's the year 2100, you know, Dead by Daylight has completely new developers, because obviously all those guys are gone now. Huntress is still the same exact killer as when she came out in 2017. So we're talking 83 years later, she's still moving at 77, she's still moving at 110, she's still taking this long to ready up. No changes at all. We stay the same. I think we should be looking at every killer every single year, going over the last 4 killers that came out and tweaking killers to match the new roster, to bring them up to snuff. That's what should be happening. So I kind of just wanted to go over this real quick, make a quick video as an appeal to why she should stay at the current speed she is now. And honestly, I think we've done that. I've dismantled every argument people could ever make for a 77% Huntress. There's no reason for her to be 77%. Not when the Trickster is moving at 96. There's just no reason for it at all. Because the things that make her better than Trickster, a pretty good amount of the maps in the game just get that power. So I kind of just wanted to talk about this real quick. But yeah, so yeah, I would love to hear. And I'm going to admit this straight off rip. I'm obviously a Huntress main. Like, I'm obviously, I love Huntress. I'm all down for her to get buffs. I would be 100% fine with her being above Blight in Nurse. Oh, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. I'm the biggest Huntress stan on the planet. I got the shirt. I got a statue that I literally paid an artist on Fiverr like $300 to model because I wanted a statue of her, and Behavior hasn't made one yet. Behavior, if you make a statue of the Huntress, I'll buy it. Life size, 10 grand, I'll buy it. And then I got the little U2s, and then I got the mask over there too, where you like cut it out and you put it on. So I'm not gonna deny the fact that I absolutely love her and obviously want her to get buffs. But even anybody who really plays this game and plays these killers, like if you play Trickster and play Huntress, you should realize that Huntress does deserve the buffs. There's a reason why she has one of the lowest kill rates in the game. She's always in the bottom 5 when it comes to kill rates. People chalk that up to new players, and yes, you can do that, but in the stats that Behavior released September of last year, she had one of the lowest kill rates in the top 5% of MMR. So that doesn't explain that at all whatsoever. There's fundamental problems with her that are obviously making her kill rates low, because she's 6% the intended kill rate. She's at 54, they want 60. Not only that, they're making these changes for the new people. Okay, it's not solely due to her kill rate. It's for the new people. She has one of the highest pick rates. She's one of the only female killers that are free. One of 2 female killers that are free. Nurse is hard as hell, so people probably gravitate towards Huntress. She's the only ranged killer that's free. She's one of the dopest killers. Sound-wise, design-wise, aesthetics, everything. Great power, great design, just all the way around great. So people gravitate towards her. And let's not make, like, mince any words here. She is very punishing when you're first learning her. She's not as punishing as Nurse. Like, dude, Nurse is brutal when you're learning Nurse for the first time. It was miserable for me. But learning Huntress is also very, very brutal, especially if you're new, if you're playing on console. And console's just fundamentally way harder aiming range killers, or you're new to PC like I was. I just picked up PC and downloaded Dead by Daylight, so I'm not used to mouse and keyboard at all. I'm getting cooked out here. And it's very punishing because she's a 110 killer, which is already tough compared to 115 killers. And she drops back to 77%. There's so many things you have to take into account. You have to take into account her wind-up speed, how fast she slows down, how fast she recovers, how fast she speeds up, how long it takes to charge a fully charged hatchet, the speeds between a quick-thrown hatchet and a fully charged hatchet, arc shots, orbitals, cross maps, gap shots, everything. She's got so much to her, and there's just so many people who aren't playing her at her best level because they play one match of her and they get cooked. They play 2 matches, 3 matches, they get cooked, and they just hang it up, and they might never play Dead by Daylight again. If they make her better, though, yes, are the good players going to get even better? I'm a Huntress main. Am I going to be better from this? Absolutely. Absolutely. It cannot be denied. I will become better. People always say, well, a good Huntress can do this, a good Huntress can do that, a good Huntress blah, 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 blah. But do we balance around the top 1 to 5% of killers? Or do we balance around the top 1 to 5% of players? Or do we balance around the 95%? You know, there's average and casual players who make up the majority of this game, and then you have the goats, you know, who put thousands of hours into a certain killer. You got Coconut, you got Max, you got Squirtle Surgeon. I mean, shit, even Otsdarva is really solid. Spooky Loops is great. Seek is great. And yes, are all these guys going to get better? Absolutely. But really good Huntresses are pretty rare, to be honest. Like, I played 150 matches in the past 2 or 3 months as Survivor, and I ran into 7 Huntresses. I literally counted. I record every single Huntress match, 7 Huntresses. Mostly Blights, mostly Nurses, mostly Weskers. Pretty good amount of Plagues, too. Really good amount of Chuckies. You just don't see Huntress at the high levels, and her kill rates at the high levels are so low for a reason. So I think that pretty much explains it, why the Huntress should be moving at 90% while holding a hatchet. I completely dismantled any arguments possible for her to be 77%. There's no reason for her to be 77%. The only argument I ever heard why she's moving at 77 and the Trickster is moving at 96 is because Huntress can down faster. We've completely dismantled that in every single way. Trickster downs faster than Huntress every single time. He has to land 8 knives compared to her 1 hatchet, yes, but he can land those 8 knives faster than she can land her 1 hatchet. And he can land his main event. He can down survivors. He can down survivors before she can. Every single way. Every single add-on combination except for one, where the Huntress has the advantage with her double speed add-ons. That's it. He downs faster every single time. He can down you before you can use your 3 seconds of on-hit speed boost. She cannot do that. She cannot do that. She's never been able to do that. Maybe back in the day in 2017 with Tinkerer, Monograph's Braid, and Oak Haft, she could have done that. Or Flower Babushka. But she can't do that now. He can do that. So there's no reason for her to be moving at 77. Not one. Nobody has any good argument at all for her to be moving at 77. Not at all. So I just wanted to make this video. This was definitely a rant. I was going through the fucking ringer here. What, did I miss anything? Okay. That's perfect. We just ran out right there. But yeah, I mean, shit. You guys seen my desktop background? I'm definitely a Huntress simp. It can't be denied. I definitely want her to get buffed. But it's not only just me being a Huntress main and me wanting her to get buffed. She needs it. She needs it. And if you play Trickster and you play Huntress and you play ranged killers, you would know that she needs it. She definitely needs it. Just because she's in a solid spot doesn't mean she shouldn't be ever tweaked. People also bring up the fact, oh, there's 30 other killers that need to be changed before her. Okay. Those killers are all up in line. They literally just gave her some quick number tweaks. It doesn't take that long to do a few number tweaks to her and test it out. They're working on a rework for Michael. They're working on a rework for Freddy. Okay, these things are already in the pipeline. And for the twins. Those things are bigger. They're going to take later. They're not number tweaks like hers. So, of course, they can squeeze her in. They can squeeze Doctor in. They can squeeze Pig in. They can squeeze Clown in. Like, it's just crazy. And Peanuts did me a solid. He answered one of my questions because I thought survivors were throwing on Hook to skew the numbers. And he let me know. He said, one of the DVD devs, Peanuts, he said, oh, we don't use PTBE stats, so don't even worry about that because there's no rank, there's no DC penalty, there's no nothing. People probably just want to play against the new killer too, so don't even worry about that. Straight feedback only. I'm like, okay, well that solves everything, and I really appreciate him saying that. But if it's straight feedback only, the amount of survivors who were or the amount of people, not even survivors, because some Huntress fans were saying it was overkill too, who were just outraged at the changes was honestly mind-blowing. It's like, yes, she's a solid killer, but is this going to make her god tier? No. Is it going to make her better? Yes. Is it fine? Yes. Just learn the counterplay. She's really not that much stronger. Like, she's significantly, she's definitely better, but she's not unbeatable, okay? She's not unbeatable by any means. It's just you have to think a little bit more when you're going against her now. Like, genuinely. This is coming from a Huntress main, and I played Survivor, and dude, I've been able to juice Huntresses because I know how they think. I know her timing so well. I can lead a Huntress on like a 3-4 gen chase pretty easily unless they're at the higher tiers, you know, like fucking Coco and max level, you know what I mean? Because I know everything about her, and I know her #1 weakness is surprisingly W King, because if she's missing, the more distance you put between you and her, the more time you have to react to her throwing a hatchet, you know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. There's nothing you can say that would ever justify her moving at 77%. That's it. You know what I mean? The only arguments anybody ever came up with was the fact that Trickster had to land 8 knives and she could down people faster than Trickster, but we've proven that that's patently false. Both of those are completely wrong. Trickster downs survivors faster in every single way. Trickster lands his 8 knives faster in every single way compared to a Huntress. So it's, yeah, I kind of just wanted to put that out there and make this video real quick, and yeah. Oh, that was a rant, but yeah, that does it for this one. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.